In the headlines, gunmen abduct traditional ruler in Plateau. NSCDC operators arrest 3 for allegedly printing fake dollars in Zamfara. Federal government secures $800 million from World Bank as palliatives for poor Nigerians. And lastly, on the foreign scene, Iran, Saudi Arabia boost ties, vow to bring security and stability to region. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Updates. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for joining us. Now the news in detail. Unknown gunmen have kidnapped another paramount ruler in Plateau State. The kidnapped monarch is a paramount ruler of the Misha people of Pangshin ethnic government of Plateau State as Sunday Dajab. And Daily Trust learned that the traditional ruler was kidnapped about 11 p.m. on Wednesday when gunmen forced their way into the palace in Chip community along Mangu Shandam Road. The police public relations officer of Plateau State Police Command, Alfred Alabo, confirmed the abduction of the monarch. Troops of Operation Hadankai has raided some enclave of Boko Haram in the fringes of Zambesa Forest in the Bama local government area of Borno State, killing at least 18 fighters. And reports say that the troops got credible intelligence from the newly established camp where the insurgent coordinated operations in the Shotari and Mutari general area. It was gathered that the troops of 21 Task Force Brigade, Bama in conjunction with the civilian task force on Tuesday conducted precise clearance into the Garim Baaba enclave, which led to the elimination of scores of insurgents. Corroborating the account, the counterinsurgency expert in the Lake Chad, Zagaloza Makama, quoted a military source as saying that the troops successfully overran the terrorists. And back to Plateau State, the Commissioner of Police in Plateau State, Bartolomeo Unyeka, says that he has arrested officers alleged to have killed a 17-year-old trader, Ibuchim Ofise, in Jos. The sales boy was killed by a stray bullet from a police patrol operative attached to C Division of the police command when they were dragging with a cyclist to dispose him of his motorcycle. Ado Musa in Jos completes the story.
The killing of the 17-year-old had generated tension and protest against the police, a development that forced the police command to redeploy personnel to C Division. At a briefing at the command's headquarters on Tuesday, the spokesperson of the State Police Command, DSP Alabo Alfred, said the commissioner has arrested the officers and assured that the culprits will be dealt with accordingly.
Continue to deal a devastating blow on criminal elements in the state. We will not relent our effort to rid off repulsive and criminal-minded officers among us, whose conduct are inimical to the image of the force. As I speak with you, all the 5 police officers of C Division who were allegedly involved in the recent killing of the 17-year-old innocent trader, Ibuchim Ofese, at the Jos Terminus main market, have been arrested and are being investigated thoroughly by the State Criminal Investigation Department, CID Jos, of the command.
While disclosing the arrest of the officers, the command, however, paraded some criminals alleged to have committed various crimes in the state, including a suspected killer of one Ruth Bako who killed his victim before raping her.
Perpetrators are arrested and made to face the consequences of their criminal actions through the laid down legal processes in our nation. It also interests you to know that on the 10th of December 2022, a very gory incident happened on the plateau where one Ruth Bako of Angwang, Jarawa, Garingada, Jos was brutally murdered where she was stabbed severally, raped, and our perpetrators scattered away with some of our properties. Police operative of Laranto Division of the Command, led by CSP Pam Dauda Ishaya, swung into action and arrested one Ephraim Emmanuel M of Angwan Jarawa Peringada, just with the victim's phone.
The command, however, assured residents of the state that it won't relent in its effort to get rid of criminal-minded people and officers whose conducts are inimical to the image of the force. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
And away from Jos, men of the Zamfara State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps have arrested 3 suspects for allegedly involving in printing and spending fake naira and dollar notes. The command spokesperson Iko Oche identified the suspect as Kamal Usani, Uzaifa Muazzil, and Suleiman Yusuf. According to Oche, the suspects were arrested following a complaint by a commercial tricycle operator, Umar Nasir, who was given a fake 1,000 naira note by the suspect. Oche explained that the operators of the NSCDC were able to trace the supplier of the fake naira and dollar notes to Kotoroshi town. And according to Oche, 60,000 naira and $2,600 of fake notes were recovered from the suspect. One of the suspects confessed that he was introduced to the crime by one Ado Gorgo of Safi local government area, who took him to Muazzil Abdul Karim of Korokoshi, who used to supply the fake currency to them. And despite it being on the way out, the Buhari administration has resolved to end the fuel subsidy by June and has begun moves to make the impact less stressful for the citizens. To this end, the World Bank has granted the Nigerian government $800 million to put up a comprehensive palliative scheme for its citizens before the removal of fuel subsidy by June 2022. Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed revealed this on Wednesday while briefing newsmen at State House Abuja after the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council. Kendi Amode has more.
Officials of the outgoing government are already engaging with the newly established Presidential Transition Council and the incoming administration with a view to driving the palliative program. But the mode of implementation does not depart from the distribution of palliatives to a targeted 10 million households or 50 million vulnerable Nigerians in the first instance.
When we're working on the 2023 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and the Appropriation Act, we made that provision to enable us exit fuel subsidy by June 2023. We're on course. We're having different stakeholder engagements. We've secured some funding from the World Bank. That is the first tranche of palliatives that will be that will enable us give cash transfers to the most vulnerable in our society.
Meanwhile, ahead of May's National Population Census, the Cabinet approved the award of the contract for the supply and installation of information and communication technology components for the 2023 population census at a sum of 10.9 billion naira.
Another contract that was approved for the NPC, National Population Commission, is for the contract for the development and the implementation of mobile device management solution for the personal digital assistance devices to be used for the 2023 population census. This is in the sum of about 4.4 billion naira.
Also on Wednesday, the Council of Ministers approved contract for 4 roads in Kwara State under the tax credit program covered by Executive Order 7. The total distance of the 4 roads is 283.938 kilometers, and it will be constructed by a leading cement company whose operations are impacted by the state's road network supply. From State House, Abuja, Keinde Amudu, Trust TV News.
And the spokesperson for the 9th House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, has indicated his intention to contest for the position of Speaker of the 10th Legislative House. Kalu said that he was well equipped to occupy the coveted seat presently occupied by Femi Gbajabiamila, who has held sway since 2019. Benjamin Kalu is the latest ranking member to indicate interest in the leading House of Representatives, and he believes Nigeria needs a diverse and sensitive leader who understands the different sentiments of the diverse people of the country so that everyone will have a sense of belonging. The lawmaker said for 40 years, the southeastern part of the country has not produced a speaker since the tenure of Honorable Edwin Ume Ezoke, who believes now is the time for the southeast to take up the gauntlet and is offering himself to lead the charge.
The energy of the new people coming on board is that energy that says we want to see freshness in governance. And that is what I'm bringing on board, transformative, legislative interventions, that is based on innovations. And it is only people like us who have been equipped that will be able to bridge that gap. From 1983 to date, we're talking about 40 years of my people not sitting on that seat. The question is why? Is it that we don't have competent people? Is it that there is no capacity to be there? And it is high time we, introduce our capacity to Nigerians, our competence to Nigerians, that 40 years, 4 decades was long enough for us to hold the gavel for the House of Representatives. We know we will do well when we occupy that position because of what we are thinking of bringing on board that will strengthen our democracy, knowing that this is the fulcrum of our democracy.
It is expected that some other lawmakers will indicate interest in the days to come, each representing different interests. Shop and the business owners at UTC Complex Area 10 Garki, Abuja have called the Ministry of the Federal Capital Territory to find an alternative place for them before embarking on demolition exercise. Zainab Karai reports that the FCTA have earmarked the complex for demolition. Take a look.
The planned demolition of the complex came as a shock to many shop owners at the UTC complex. A cross-section of shop owners and residents said they have not been informed about the demolition, adding that if they have been informed, they will have looked for an alternative place to continue their businesses.
When we come out in the morning yesterday, we find out that they come and destroy the brand. We went to FCDA. FCDA said that they didn't know about it. So, but today they came and look at the place and promised to come and put things in order.
Yeah, it's covered before, but it's opening now. Bad guys can jump in, break into the shop and do 1 or 2 bad things to go outside again. We have been dragging this thing for long. The case is still in court.
Well, it affected me. I lost my tools. I lost some of my, even my colleagues, some of my colleagues, they lost their things here. Anything that happens inside this plaza, it affects everybody here, including my barrow, my carpenter, everybody inside this market will be affected.
Some shop owners also said the Federal Capital Development Authority and the private estate developing firm have interest in using the place, calling on the government to consider their plights and make alternative place available for them, provide food for their family.
I don't know what make them want to demolish it, but we are not happy about it. If they demolish it, where are we going to go?
The urban shelter is part of the defendants in court, FCDA 2. But who in particular, who is the main, I don't know. So, but the main case is between the urban shelter, the shop owners, and the FCDA. If we live here, that's another reason we are protesting. That it's not that we don't know that here is already old. We know. But make an arrangement for us before moving us. Where are we headed to? Where are we going to?
Urban shelter, they want to remodel this place. They want to build new one, model one. So this building is old, is this and that. And they want to bring it down. But there's no provision for another place. So if they bring it down now, where did they want us to go?
When FCDA built here, we bought the shops. So before this place will expire at 90-something years, before FCDA will have right to resell it to another person. And it's still at something years. So I cannot take over the place which is at something years and sell it to another person.
UTC Complex is a hub for printing and artworks and computer village of sorts in Abuja. Zainab Karai, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now to judicial matter. An FCT High Court has stopped the Nigerian Army, Ministry of Defense and orders from trespassing on plots of land located at Highbrow Maitama Extension, popularly known as Maitama Aliero. Justice U.P. Kekemeke restrained the defendants pending the determination of the subsisting case before it. Joined on the suit as defendants are President Muhammadu Buhari, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, the Ministry of Defense, the Minister of Defense Bashir Magashi, FCT Minister Musa Muhammad, and the Federal Capital Territory Authority. The landowners, under the auspices of the trustees of the Association of Plot Owners Maitama Extension, Maitama Aliero, and 11 orders, had approached the court on December 16, 2022 to restrain the defendants and their agents from committing further acts of trespass within Cadastral Zone A05, Maitama, also known as Maitama Aliero. You're watching Trust TV News Updates. Still to come, we'll take a look at how irrigation farming complements dry season farming. Details of this report and more. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news updates on Trust TV. A recap of our top stories. We told you earlier that gunmen abduct traditional ruler in Plateau. And NSCDC operators arrest 3 for allegedly printing fake dollars in Zamfara. Moving on to other stories, the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research and other stakeholders in the country have launched the Canada-Africa Mpox partnership. Director General of the NIMR, Babatunde Salako, said the partnership is aimed at curbing the spread of Mpox and studying the dynamics of its transmission from human to human. Salako added that the Nigerian consortium would work with their Canadian partners to help inform the clinical and public health response to local and global epidemics of Mpox. He said 68 researchers with multiple disciplinary expertise from Canada, Nigeria, the US, and the United Kingdom will work on the project that would involve community engagement from inception. The DG, however, reiterated the need for a Medical Research Council to fund research works peculiar to Nigeria. The other institutions in the project are the University of Ilorin, the Slum and the Rural Health Initiative Network, the Institute of Human Virology Nigeria, and the Maryland Global Initiative Corporation. There has been increased awareness on the need for more farming in Benue State to augment the loss occasioned by flood disaster and increase productivity in the food basket of the nation. In this report, Jimmy Azande looks at the state of irrigation farming in Benue State as a complementary factor for dry season farming. The report.
A visit to the Benue River banks shows its underutilization by prospective farmers in the state. However, a few farmers were seen working on some crops. One of the farmers explained the benefits as well as the challenges of the farmers during the dry season. We appeal to the government to assist us in the areas of fertilizer, pumping machines and pesticides. Between March and April, we are hit by certain pests on this farm, especially on the green vegetables. Many farmers now prefer maize farming only to avoid the pest. The low level of irrigation farming in the state is blamed on poor awareness and cultural stereotypes of the Benue rural farmers.
There's no awareness like that to farmers. And our tea people, if you go to interior villages, they go to farm from morning to evening. So if there is no rain again, they concentrate on the rainy. There are some crops that you will do and harvest during dry season. So for them to continue with it, they will not have that because they have not gone into it.
Most lands at the back of the rivers are owned by people who don't engage into farming at all. The areas are occupied already. There's no point in getting there. Most farmers who might even have intention to go there, they might end up not getting a piece of land to farm. Except if government can revisit by way of saying, identifying those who own the lands and those who are willing to farm.
According to agricultural experts, the impact of climate change calls for more engagement in irrigation farming as against the traditional cycle of waiting for rainfall.
You know, what this country has done is, should I say, a lot. Benue has been ignored despite the potentials. The irrigation facilities are nearly absent here in Benue. There are none. You understand? Despite the availability of two key rivers in Nigeria here in Benue, you have the presence of River Benue, River Kasinala, and several of their tributaries and other water bodies that are capable of supporting irrigation farming during the dry season. Unfortunately for us, the incentives to go into irrigation farming is not here.
The crops on the farms are mostly vegetables and corn cultivated in small clusters. This is grossly inadequate to meet up with the rising demand, as there is growing need for the government to intervene to boost production.
Away from Nigeria, Saudi Arabia and Iran have agreed to follow up on agreements to reopen their diplomatic missions in Tehran and Riyadh, to encourage visits of official and private delegations and to facilitate visas from Iranian and Saudi citizens. The two countries have also agreed to discuss resuming bilateral flights. Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud and his Iranian counterpart Hossein Amir Abdullah shook hands in the Chinese capital Beijing on Thursday in the first formal meeting of the two senior officials after a 7-year-long rift between Tehran and Riyadh that fueled instability in the region. The latest accord comes after the two regional powers agreed in March to restore ties in a landmark pact brokered by China. The deal, according to experts, demonstrated Beijing's increasingly influential role in the region in contrast to the diminishing role of the United States. Saudi Arabia and Iran broke formal ties in 2016 after Iranian protesters attacked Saudi diplomatic missions in response to the kingdom's execution of Shia Muslim leader Al-Nimr. And now let's take a look at what's happening in sports. Nigeria's Rivers United is to take on Young African Sport Clubs of Tanzania in the quarterfinals of the 2022-2023 CAF Confederation Cup competition. The Port-Harcourt-based Nigerian champions had qualified for this stage of the competition after finishing second from Group B of the group phase stage. The news agency of Nigeria, NAN, reports that their opponents are also known as Yanga and are based in Jangwani, Dar es Salaam. Meanwhile, in other fixtures, a North African derby pits Algeria and Morocco's Asfar. Asfar is the only team in the last 8, which has previously won the competition, having been crowned champions in 2005. This is also the first time the Moroccans are making it into the group stages since the 2006 season. And with that, we have come to the end of the news update at this hour. But for more, you can follow us across all our social media platforms. My name is Martia Umar on behalf of the news crew. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.